There we go. Hello, everybody. Yay! Finally back online, right? Okay, so hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Let me turn my stuff up here just a smidge. So hi. Hi, everybody. Let me know if you guys can hear me on the chat bar, just so I know that we're kind of connected here just a little bit. So I want to talk a little bit about, because I'm getting like bombarded when it comes to people asking me about this new moon, full moon, moon water. Like, okay, so I'm going to explain everything right off the bat because I have a lot of people that are like, I'm so confused. I'm like, okay. So tonight there is a new moon. So when there is a new moon, you're not going to see the moon. So it's black, it's dark, you're not going to see nothing, all right? So when there is a new moon, that signifies new beginnings. So when there's a new moon, that's the time we sage. So saging is literally clearing out all that old energy and getting some better energy kind of in your space or in your area. So if you haven't saged tonight, tomorrow night, the next night-ish, that's good enough. So the biggest thing is I really want to make sure that everybody sages because, Lord, we need it right now. So like I said, if you haven't saged, it'd be a great time to sage. Now on a full moon is when we put out our crystals to charge, and a full moon is when we make moon water. So full moon is the moon water and the crystals. New moon is saging. So, and like I said, new moon, full moon every 2 weeks. So they rotate every 2 weeks. So if you can kind of keep that in mind, usually if you're following me on Facebook, and if you're not following me on my Facebook account, you should. So, but if you're not following me on Facebook, I suggest that you follow me there because I always give reminders about, hey, don't forget, new moon tonight, sage. So like I said, sage with the new moon, full moon is when you make the moon water and your crystals out to charge, okay? The biggest thing is I did do a video on saging and Palo Santo and all that stuff. So if you guys want to, learn more about that, I'll put that a link here at the bottom of this video when we get done. But it's, I did it about a couple months ago. So, but it's on my YouTube account. So if you guys haven't subscribed to my YouTube, obviously I'm going to tell you to subscribe to my YouTube, and then my Facebook stuff. So, if you guys haven't attended a Q&A, because I know I got a lot of newbies here, lots of virgins. So if you're a newbie, I don't do personal readings on the Q&As. I just answer the weird questions. So because a lot of people have weird questions and they don't really have anybody to ask, or they don't want to ask like people that they're close to because they don't want to be seen as weird. So that's why I do these Q&As to really help everybody out to the best that I can. And I don't know everything, but I'm at least going to try to help you out the best that I can. So Terry is asking, can Palo Santo be used in place of sage? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know I like the smell of sage. My son, he hates it. So he's like, when you come to my room, can you do the stick thing and not the other thing? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So, but yeah, you can absolutely use that. Somebody's asking if I'm doing the ghost tour this year. I am not, especially due to COVID. So I won't be doing a ghost tour this year. I even had to cancel my tour, my normal tour that I do for the being up on stage and doing stuff like that. So I've actually had to cancel that too. So I don't know when that's going to pick back up. I know South Dakota is the easiest state right now. So early October, I'll be doing a live audience reading there. So, but right now I don't have any other live audience readings scheduled just because due to COVID. When COVID hit, I had to cancel a lot. So it kind of hit me in the pocketbook a little bit. So I'm still trying to kind of figure that out and work through that. So like I said, I don't have any live audience readings coming up for right now. So, let's see. Emily, that is a good sign. I have meetings in my head with spirit while I'm cooking and laundry, getting dizzy. Yep. That's when you need to ground, Scott. So what's happening is when you're doing mundane chores, dishes, laundry, going to the bathroom, driving, that's usually when you're going to get hit the most with spirit. That's usually when you're like, did I just have a conversation with myself? Did I just talk to spirit? Where'd that idea come from? So the biggest thing is just make sure that you're repeating what you can remember so you can get it out of the psychic side of the brain and get it into that logical side, all right? So, but usually when you do mundane chores, that's some of the best hits of intuition that you're going to get. So make sure that you, like I said, verbally say it out loud or write it down, or you're going to forget. Let's see. Is there a power spot concentrated near Columbus? I don't know about that, but there's just some spots in Nebraska that I've come across that are not necessarily higher vibey than others, but there's definitely some that are lower. So, but I don't know about that area in particular, and I'd actually have to go check it out. So I don't know. Jill saw a gray feather on the sidewalk. What does that mean? Change. Means change. Either change is coming or you know what you need to do to change. That's what 1, 2, 3, 4 means as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4 means that you know damn well what you need to do to change. You're just not doing it because you're scared or you're in fear. So lots of 4s and 10s. So 10s are 1s. So, and 4s are just letting you know that angels are around or that they're near. So basically, if you're seeing the 4s and the 10s, that means to tell me to have a little bit of faith. So, but pay attention to, what you're thinking about as well. Because 1s are always significant about what are you thinking about? What's in your brain? And people are like, well, I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm freaking driving. I'm like, well, okay, then how do you feel? Your emotions are an indicator to how you're thinking. So how do you feel? So that's a big one. So pay attention to that. I have a ghost in my house. What will the sage do to him? Probably get rid of him unless you want him to stay, and then you can tell him to stay. So, do which spell jars work? Supple tumor ovary, remove, having a hard time getting pregnant. What are good crystals? Which spell jars do work, Hunter? Good crystals for that would be anything orange, because you're talking about the sacral chakra. So anything, anything orange would be fine. So, we've got carnelian, vandonite. There's a lot of different orange crystals, but anything orange is really going to help with that one. How do you find out who my spirit guide is? Literally ask before you go to bed. Just like, all right, God, universe, whatever you want to call him. Just like, all right, I want to talk to my spirit guides in my dreams. That's usually the best time that you're actually going to meet your spirit guide, is in a dream state. And when you meet your spirit guide, you're going to look at him and go, I know you, but I don't know you. But man, you look really familiar to me. Or you're going to be like, oh my God, that's my soulmate. I love him. Because love is going to be associated the same way as, because love is eternal. So you're going to feel that feeling, but then you wake up and you're like, I've never met that person before. So, and I'm like, well, that was your spirit guide, because again, they're all loving. So, let's see. Can you make new moon water like full moon water? I would think you could, I guess. I mean, if you're really wanting to concentrate on new beginnings, I think that would work fine, because like I said, new moons are all about pushing a hard restart button. So the biggest thing I'm going to tell you is that I think October is going to be pretty feisty. So a lot of us more intuitive people that have been doing this for a while have a really big sense of, like, I guess the best we could use is foreboding. We know something's brewing, but we can't quite stick our finger on it. So I think October is really going to reveal a lot of stuff, because truth is going to come out because of the way Mars is sitting. So it's, I don't think it's going to be anything like crazy or whatever, but I have extra stuff in storage just in case. So, because I don't know what's coming, because it's going to affect myself as well. So therefore, I think that's why I can't predict it that easy. But we're all kind of having that weird sense of like, something's brewing. There's a disturbance in the force and we don't know what it is. So like I said, that's how I'm feeling. And I think a lot of us are. Okay. Dream of talking to a monk. Love is the answer. That's awesome. So most likely a monk probably is one of your spirit guides. So I've known a lady, actually a couple of weeks ago, she walked in and one of her spirit guides was a nun. And I'm like, oh, no. And sure as heck, it was a nun. So when I told her, I said, your spirit guide's a nun. And I don't normally say that. She was just like, that's really funny. When I go through some of the worst times in my life, there's like, I see a lot of nuns, and I'm like, makes sense. So it's kind of kind of cool. This work has been harsh sleeping. Schumann resonance, you know, between the Schumann resonance and the sun getting flaky and geomagnetic storms, and let alone the fires, the hurricanes, you don't think us sensitives are not going to be able to pick up on that? Of course we are. So finally last night we started getting a little bit better sleep. I think it's because, you know, the hurricane made landfall, honestly. So last night we seem to have gotten better sleep. Hopefully tonight we will too. But the 4 days previous, yeah, none of us slept. None of us did. It's like we had that, like, we slept, but it was like a twilighty sleep. You know, you just didn't get that good REM sleep that we're all used to. So last night we finally feel like we got better sleep. So I know a lot of people last night, I mean, slept like 14, 15 hours. And so I'm like, just roll with it, guys. The energy is extremely volatile right now. It's really, it's like 1 minute we're fine, the next minute we're not. And I'm like, so the sun is like belching, the earth is reacting, and our bodies are like, ah! So just hang in there. So the biggest thing I can tell you is make sure that you're staying hydrated, because that is a big one. Make sure that you're not sucking down a bunch of crap foods. So make sure that you're eating really good whole foods, like fruits and vegetables, things like that. But like I said, it's just, the energy is just weird. And I think this weird is going to continue on until that October point. I honestly think that after the election, a lot of this stuff's going to die the hell down. I really, really do. So it's an election year. And I'm going to tell you that this is an election year. This happens every election year. Weird stuff happens. So, but we've never had it to the point where even the sun is reacting and the earth is reacting and everything else is too. So, like I said, just you guys take care of yourselves. Really take care of you first so you can help other people. But otherwise, if you do not do self-care, you are going to be exhausted during this time. And I mean exhausted. So like I said, make sure that you take care of you and say no to those energy vampires. And you know who they are. We all got some in our family. So the sun isn't, so we have a lot of like solar flares. Like the sun is just, it's just feisty. It's just doing this. And every time it sends out a little flare, we get that plasma ray. And that plasma ray, the first day on the plasma ray, we're like, woohoo, we're great. The second day, we're all like, duh, like none of us can concentrate. And then we get car accidents all over. And then the third day, we're exhausted. So, and that's where a lot of this stuff has been coming from, has been the sun. So, you know, the best thing I can tell you is fall is all about resting. It's like gathering and resting and nesting. That's what fall is all about. So, Sally, I'm not doing personal readings. Yeah, Elizabeth, I'm not doing, Kendra, I don't know about food shortages or blackouts. I doubt that. I really do. I just think that if anything, it's going to be news that's going to be pretty breaking. But like I said, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yes, Susie, you can grow your own sage and lavender to burn. Absolutely, you can. The thick-bladed sage is better than the thin-bladed. The thin-bladed sage smells a lot like weed when you're doing it in your house. The thick-bladed sage, not so much. Do I believe in reptilian people? Reptilian, yes. I wouldn't call them people because they're not human. So, are there any crystals native to Nebraska? There is an agate, I believe. There is some sort of an agate, so yes. Izzy, no, you do not charge your crystals tonight. You charge your crystals on the full moon. Meaning of a dove, that is all spiritual connection, that you are connected to spirit at all times. That's just a really good, kind of sign from spirit to say, hey, we're here for you. What do you need? So, what does it mean that if you experience deja vu daily? Jennifer, that just means that you're very precognitive. That means to tell me that you are seeing your future in your dreams. So that, like I said, that's a precognitive type dream is what you're having. So that just means to tell me that psychically or intuitively your spidey senses are getting better. That's a good thing. Yeah, so many synchronicities, all the numbers, mirrored numbers, because once you guys become enlightened, once you are truly enlightened, you will see those replicating numbers, and you will see those replicating numbers every day for the rest of your life. I have seen them every day for the last 14 years. So you will too. So, but once you see them, you'll see them. So, love, usually cardinals are from our loved ones. So usually like grandmas, moms, dads, things like that. So usually cardinals are signs from our loved ones. Elizabeth, if you're seeing that hummingbird, it could be, again, that could be a sign from a loved one, or it could be possibly a spirit animal as well. Can you freeze moon water? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I've made ice cubes with it. You bet. But how do you know if it's synchronicity versus the numbers mean something to you? It's always synchronistic. Everything in this world is synchronistic. Nothing is random. Nothing. And once you begin to see that, you'll see how nothing really is random at all. Nope. Yep, seeing those numbers means that you are enlightened. Absolutely. Would you ever do ayahuasca? I don't think I would gain anything from it. And the reason why is because I've dealt with my shit. I've dealt with my past. I know me. My skeletons are out in the closet. Like, I don't have any skeletons. Like, everybody know I have nothing to hide. Everybody knows my past, my history. So personally, no, I don't think I would, because I don't think it would benefit me at all. I don't think ayahuasca would benefit me at all. Nope. So, and the reason why is because I'm so spiritually tapped in. Like, I don't need a drug or whatever you want to call it. I'll classify it as a drug. But I don't need that to be able to get my consciousness open or to be able to get my brain to shut up. So, because I've done that. Let's see. Light language. I've heard of light language. I honestly don't know much about light language. I kind of need to look into that because I've heard it twice now, and I'm not familiar with that. So I need to do some research on that. So I haven't been. I haven't had any time. So this last 4 days, since Sunday evening, I have been working 12-hour shifts here at the store because we got all literally crystals. We got a U-Haul full of crystals. So I've been pricing and taking them out of boxes and doing all that. So as of today, literally an hour ago, we just got done. So now I can kind of get back to me. So, how is the book for raising psychic children coming? Actually pretty good. So I'm still working on a lot of stuff because it's like everything that's in my brain, I want to be able to get in paper, because when you get it on paper, you're like, oh shit, forgot to add this. And then you want to add some more stuff in. So that's where my brain's at right now. Anxiety's through the roof lately. It is, Amy, for everybody. It is. You're not alone. So, and like I said, the energy right now is crazy. I saw so many boxes at Awakenings with Denver. Yeah. So you should see how much our store is like, it's glittery. I got so many crystals. Let's see. How do pendulums work? Hunter, I did a video on that. I did a YouTube video on that about 2 months ago. So I'm going to have you go back and watch that video because I did the whole thing. I know alcohol lowers vibes, smoking weed too. I'll be real with you. Smoking weed does not. I mean, it's not something I do. But what weed is one of the weird ones where it doesn't negatively or positively affect you. But what it does is it slows the brain down to get you more in like an alpha mode, so you can kind of let go of stuff and be able to get in that meditation mode to open you up to be available to possibly communicate with spirit. So, I always tell people, if you're still doing it over a long period of time, then it's a crutch. And if you can't meditate without it, then we got to work on that. So that's because that's not a good thing. You shouldn't need a crutch to be able to do stuff like that. You should be able to do it with just determination. And meditation is not easy, guys. I know it's not. So, but a lot of people, when they first start out, like to smoke weed when they meditate because it gets their brain to shut down. So, like, do I understand it? I get it. Alcohol is a depressant, however. So that will tap you out. So And that's why I'm like, I never drink 24 hours before I do readings. I can't, because it ain't, nope, it doesn't work. So, is Tourmaline and Amethyst good to wear at this time? Yes, I'll say that. If you guys are having headaches, which a lot of people are, if you guys are having headaches, especially right here or on the right side or back behind your head right here, we want to make sure that's your third eye chakra. And a lot of people's third eye chakras right now are pretty open. And if you're still having trouble, the best advice I could tell you is take your shoes off, go walk around outside in the grass for about 5 minutes. It really is going to help to pull that energy through your feet and get that energy moving again. So if you can't do that, maybe get a darker blue crystal like lapis or something like that to help you kind of open that up. So, yeah, lots of people are having headaches. Yep, hug a tree, no joke. So, Lynn's, it says Lynn's crystals for lower back muscle spasms. I would tell you that if you're having that issue, that means to tell me that you are very worried about money and you're probably doing a job that you absolutely hate because of the money. And if that's the case, I'm going to recommend things like jade, pyrite, things like that are going to be able to help you to manifest more money. So, but usually that's where that one's at, is your lower back is all about money. It's all about the lack of financial support. So, is the aura of a tree white? Actually, it is. And if you keep staring at it, it'll go blue and then it'll turn. So yes, that is correct. Crystals for mental exhaustion. Nina, that's going to be lepidolite is probably a pretty good one for that. Amethyst would be okay for that one too. And I would even say charoite would be another one. Charoite, charoite. I don't ever know how to pronounce that one. Looking for a larger rough piece of watermelon tourmaline. Oh yeah, we found some. I mean, I got chunks. So if you guys order online, put that in the notes. Hey, I want a big piece. So, or I want a small piece, whatever. So that's easy. Sage not staying lit. Normal, Susie. Is normal. You got to relight it 3, 4, 5 times sometimes. So really, really get it brewing here. Why are difficult people even more off the charts, Peg? I'll tell you what, you are seeing a big divide right now between enlightened people and unenlightened people. You're seeing a big divide, and you're either enlightened and chill and cool, or you're unenlightened and fighting everybody that will listen. So, and like I said, I always tell people when it comes to the unenlightened ones, just look at them and just be like, well, bless your heart, because I'm not going to deal with your shit. I just ignore them. So, because again, if I say anything negative in return, that's my karmic debt. Nah, not going to do it. Best crystals to wear when working with elementary kids, Diana. Amazonite. Trying to think. Amazonite. Chiropracy. I don't know how to pronounce that one right. Chiropracy. So, those are going to be 2 best ones. My store is called Awakenings. It's Awakenings here in Omaha, Nebraska. How do we find out what the past trauma is if we're not sure? Johnny, I'll tell you the best way to do that is through like a hypnotherapy session. So go to a hypnotist, weird as it might sound, but yeah, go to a hypnotherapy session. Personally, I've done like past life regressional hypnotherapy sessions and things like that. I like A+ hypnosis here in Omaha. So good stuff. Awakening smells like heaven. You know, it's weird. I had a kid come in the other day and he came in, he's like, it's the angel store. And I was like, oh, that's so good. That's good energy then. Crystals to help with cramps in feet, legs, and toes. Susie, anything black or red, but especially like brecciated jaspers, any of the jaspers, but anything black or red would be really, really good. So retrograde causing tummy issues, everybody's getting hit in the gut. Right? The last week, we have all had tummy issues, weird tummy issues. So it hit us in the this last wave of plasma hit us in the solar plexus and hit us in the third eye. So that's why I'm like going, get your citrine out, get your yellow crystals out. That'll help with the tummy stuff. So Genesis, anytime you can sage anytime tonight. There is no particular time, so you don't have to stay up until midnight and do crazy shit like that. I don't. So let's see here. How do we improve our remote viewing? Oh, can I do a video on that? Yeah. I'm gonna write that one down because if I don't write that one down, oh, that's good. Remote viewing. Because remote viewing and psychic abilities, you would think that they're very similar. They're not. They are not. Okay. Are some of us more sensitive during retrograde? It depends on which retrograde, because right now I believe we have 6 or 7 planets in retrograde. And that's going to determine that by when you were born and where your sun and your moon and all this other crap is. So you need an astrologer to help you out with that one. So to see, because some people like, for instance, President Trump. So he was born in a retrograde. So when in a Mercury retrograde. So when Mercury retrograde comes around by him, it doesn't affect him like it makes the rest of us go freaking crazy and everything else breaks. For him, it's probably not a big deal. So it depends on, like I said, when you were born and the time that you were born in. So, any recommendations to burn tonight? Sage-wise, just burn it. Don't matter. So I'm like, I did a video on it. Like I said, just go back and watch the video. I'll post that after this. Who do I recommend for Reiki at Omaha? Personally, I go to Diane Rombach at Peaceful Mind Therapeutic. So you know what, you guys, don't think that, like, I get off too. So if I get a Reiki session done probably about 4 times a year to keep my shit aligned, there's nothing wrong with this. Us healers are the worst to be healed. So make sure that you take care of you. Again, if you want a Reiki session, October is the month to do it. So the end of this month and going into October would be great. So the Dream app is called Dream Moods, MOODS, dreammoods.com. So like I said, they got an app. I love it. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, ladders, spiders, water, whatever it is. So that's the best one. Kim, crystals to protect you from mean neighbors. That would be any of the obsidians. So whether that's snowflake obsidian, black obsidian, rainbow obsidian. So any obsidian and black tourmaline. Those would be the 2 that are really going to help you out. So remote viewing is when you are able to, it's like it's kind of like astral traveling, but not really. It's like your soul leaves the body. You're able to go to a certain location and describe that location as if you were there. So you have to be fairly clairvoyant to be able to do that. So there's 5 psychic abilities and there's 5 human senses, 5 psychic senses. So one of those 5 is called clairvoyance, and highly clairvoyant people can remote view. I do that to help out the police department on the occasion. So I'll remote view. So I'm like, okay, where are you? Show me with your eyes what you last saw so I can help find or recover your body. So that's part of remote viewing. So crystals 14, ADD, depression, overwhelmed with schoolwork. Jessica, the best ones are going to be, let's see here. I'm going to say tiger eye because I'm assuming it's a boy. So I'm going to say tiger eye, lepidolite, and probably citrine are going to be the top 3 for those. Dream of floating behind somebody. That's just astral traveling. That's good old astral traveling. So can you sage in the morning? Yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm too tired to do it tonight. I'm not going to do it tonight. I'll do it in the morning. So I usually sage really heavy in the morning, and then I'll go take a shower because my hair stinks like it. So can you develop your clairaudience further with crystals? Absolutely, Megan. Great question. You can. So clairaudience is the ability to hear spirit talking to you. Clairaudient is associated with your throat chakra. So any crystals to help you open up your throat chakra, perfect. So that would be like blue lace agate, any of the lighter blue colored, blue lace agate, deuteromerite. Trying to think of the other ones. Lapis would be okay for that one. So, but any of the lighter blue colored crystals would be great. What does it mean? We see eagles all the time. They follow me when driving. Kim, that's either a sign from a loved one, like a dad or a grandpa, or Could be your spirit guide. So the biggest thing is when you guys see animals repeatedly a lot all the time, Google that shit. Google it and look and see spiritual meaning behind X, whatever it is. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna see really quick, go, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I'm going through. I'm like, exactly. And that way you can really begin to kind of put this together and realize how connected you are. So Emily, if you see sixes all the time, that means that you're really worried about not having enough money. You're worried about money. So instead of imagining money coming in, you're imagining money going out. So do the opposite. Imagine money coming in. So I didn't find out, Shelly. I was still trying to figure that out. And I'm going to ask one of my medium friends if they know what stork bites mean. So like I said, I totally understand, birthmarks. That's usually an injury with how somebody died in a previous life. Stork bites, I still don't know. So I asked one person, they're like, I never thought about that. I'm like, oh, I know. It was a great question that I got. I can't answer it. So, but I looked into it. I only asked one person. So I've got two other people that I'm going to ask and see what they know. Do I have any pistachio opal? I do. I have pistachio calcite. I don't have the opal. I have opals, but I don't have pistachio opal. So I've got Boulder opal, Australian opal, and then I have pistachio calcite. So if you're seeing fours all the time, Marcia, that just means that angels are around and that you need to understand that you're more supported by angels than what you think you are. How do I help my solar plexus? Like I said, anything yellow, eating yellow foods, looking at yellow things, wearing yellow, yellow crystals, anything yellow. The other thing is that YouTube has a lot of videos with solar plexus type like music. So you can listen to actually, certain hertz will help you to open up that solar plexus as well. So there's lots of different things you can do. Singing bowls, tuning forks, lots of things. So how do you know when you're aligned with your chakras? Because you feel freaking great. Because you feel on point. When you have one of those days that you're like, damn, today it's a good day. And you're like, damn, today's good. That's when you know your chakras are aligned. And not only that, you're also going to see replicating numbers all day long. You're going to see the ones and the twos and the sevens and the eights. You're going to see them all. So when you see a lot of replicating numbers in one day, that signifies to me that you're vibrating at a very high energy level. That's the day that you want to ask for what it is that you want, because you're really vibing high enough to be able to get a return or get a response. So that's why I'm like, you're seeing lots of replicating numbers in one day, you're vibing high. That's a good thing. That's the day that you want to ask for what it is that you want. People forget, if you want to manifest something, you got to ask. Don't forget to ask. That's the number one rule. And a lot of people don't ask. They just assume or expect. I'm like, well, yeah, and ask. So, let's see. When I have rough times, I get a rainbow. Is that a sign? Absolutely. Absolutely it is. Kundalini awakening, here's the deal. If you guys are seeing replicating numbers, you're enlightened, you're awoken. You don't have to worry about opening up your third eye or detoxing the pineal gland or anything like that. Don't sweat it. If you're seeing the replicating numbers, that already means to tell me that you are already enlightened and you're at a stage 3 of your enlightenment journey or your spiritual awakening or your ascension or your Kundalini awakening. Do you see what I mean? I got 4 different verbiages for the same damn thing that's going on. So everybody wants to have the new craze. So they come up with these damn verbiages to say the same thing. It's kind of like Reiki. It's like everybody, there's holy fire Reiki, regular Reiki, healing touch. There's so many different avenues. And I'm like, they're the same thing. They do the same thing. So keep it simple. Don't get it all complex. So, I see 9/11. 9/11 just means that you got a lot of drama and you need to squash the drama, basically. Is there a difference between Earth Child or Star Child, or is it the same? I don't know, because I think your verbiage and my verbiage are different. So let me explain. So there's 3 different types of intuitive kids, right? 3. There's the indigo kid, there's the crystalline kid, and then there's the rainbow kid. So there's 3 different ones. Now I know a lot of times the crystal children are often are known as the star children. So same with the rainbow kids too. So it could be one of those 2. So like I said, and this is part of this, the part of the spiritual stuff that makes me so frustrated. There's no Webster dictionary. There's no it's kind of like trees and plants. I'm a horticulturalist at heart. So somebody on the East Coast might call it one thing, somebody in the West Coast calls it another thing, but the Latin term is the same. So this is where it gets a little confusing and really difficult, because some people's verbiages are different than what I would understand. So that's why I had to clarify the verbiage for what you were asking. So how many stages are there? Technically 6. So 0 is when you're not enlightened. 1 is when you get activated and you're like, whoa, something's different about me. Stage 2, you're like, okay, I know something's different about me and I got to figure this shit out. So you dive into all this weird stuff. That's usually when you come across somebody like me. So, and stage 2 is when your ears are ringing, head's itchy, certain foods aren't sitting good, dreaming batshit crazy, negative people pissing you off, asking yourself, what the heck? Why did I not see this purpose stuff before? Stage 3 then is when you start to see those replicating numbers. And that's when people begin to really change. That's when they get a divorce, they move away, they do all these things, and people are like, oh, you've lost your mind. And you're like, I found it. So that's usually stage 3. Stage 4 is when you stand there isolated and alone. You're looking around going, man, it's lonely at the top, but it feels right. And then that's usually when you figure out what your life purpose is. And then you get to a stage 5, when you do your life purpose exclusively, you know how you're connected to every living thing, and you treat people like they're your brother or your sister. Now there is a stage 6. Stage 6 is what Jesus did. True enlightenment. He went rainbow bodied. So that's a huge deal. Like a lot of monks, there's a lot of monks that are able to do that. So like I said, that's a stage 6. Ultimately, that's what we want to do for our soul, so that we never have to return. So Jesus came to earth to show us true enlightenment, and that's what that means. So like I said, I want to describe those stages for you really quick. Can you get stuck in the stages? Nobody's ever stuck. No, but like I said, it took me a while to get through the stages. Some people, they get through it in 5 years. It took me 10 because I'm stubborn. So how do you know if you're an indigo or a light worker? They're both the same thing, same terminology. Enlightened people, if you're seeing replicating numbers, you're a light worker. There you go. How about that? Simple. Like I said, keep it simple. So what does it mean when you have a lot of deja vu? It just means that you're very precognitive. Good way to tell if weird things are signs from good or bad spirits. They're always good spirits. They're never bad ones. Because like I said, you have to have a little bit of faith here. You gotta trust. But the biggest thing is also announce it. If you are not for my highest good, then get the hell out of here. Period. You tell spirit what to do. Spirit never tells you what to do. They might join in once in a while and scare the living hell out of you, but they don't do it purposely. So like I said, the biggest thing is you set the parameters. I set my parameters. Just because I can talk to dead people doesn't mean that I'm going to go up to grandma in the middle of the grocery store and say, oh, by the way, I got a message for you. No. And the reason why is because, number 1, that would take a lot of energy. And number 2, it's none of my business. I'm not going to interfere in somebody else's personal business when it's none of my business in the first place. So that's why I have people come to me in an office to be able to relay those messages to them. So how do I enhance my visualization? Lillian, the best way to do it is to become more observant in your daily life. So it's kind of like walk into a new room and just scope it out real quick and then go back and try to ask yourself a question like, okay, where was the Kleenex box? And you're going to be like, I think it was over here. And then you're going to go back and look. So like I said, that's one way to help with the visualization. Another thing is any of those crystals are going to help you too. So, but the biggest thing is opening up that third eye chakra. That's what it's associated with. So, My husband started to see the same triple numbers ever since I started telling him when I seen it. Elizabeth, that's a good sign for me. That means to tell me that your husband is also going through an awakening too. So otherwise he wouldn't see it. Like I said, it's not random. Nothing is ever random. Best crystals to meditate with, all of them. I would say try maybe, if you're just trying to start out, maybe stick to something like low key, like selenite, maybe like clear quartz, things like that. So it depends on what you want to concentrate on. Like if you want to manifest money, well, we want pyrite, we want jade, we want citrine, we want green aventurine. If you want to think about, just keeping your mind quiet, well, then maybe we're going to reach for some rainbow moonstone or something like that. That'll help kind of quiet it down a little bit. So, because that's all about new beginnings too. Does households wake together, husband and boys? Yes, Lindsay, they can. Because remember, you're going to vibrate at the person who is the highest vibrational person in the room. So, and that's, I'm like, that's everybody. That's, like I said, so it's kind of like a lot of times I'll notice, and I don't notice it, but my friends notice it, is that when we walk into a room, it's just kind of like people will look at me and I'm like, oh, I gotta, especially if I'm like getting off a stage or where my vibe is really high. People usually are one of two ways. They're like, oh my God, who's that chick? I want to hang out with her. Or or the unenlightened ones are like, who's that bitch? So it depends on their mindset. So, but if you hang out with me long enough, you'll start vibing higher too. So a lot of people, when they even read my books or they watch videos, end up in a really high vibrational state. So it's an energy thing. That's all. Renee, newbie, seen, heard spirits for years, just don't understand why. Talk to people, about what I have seen or hear that I no longer see or hear them. I don't understand that question. Let's see here. Once I talk to people about what I have seen or heard that I no longer see or hear them, because you relayed the message, that's why. Because once you relay a message, they don't need to talk to you anymore. Crystals are all handmade bowl in my bed. Is that okay? Absolutely. You can store crystals in just about anything. So really it doesn't matter. I have my crystals are usually on selenite. So because selenite charges and cleanses all crystals. So I always keep mine on a big old thing of selenite. So we got a ton of selenite when we were in Denver. So we've got bowls, we got plates, we got wands, we got all kinds of selenite. So, but everybody should have a piece of selenite anyway. Insomnia is pretty normal. Like I said, I was talking about that earlier. It's been very, very normal right now for none of us to get any sleep. Last night we finally got a little bit of sleep. Let's see. Seeing geometric symbol, flower of life when the eyes are open. That's a good thing. That means they tell me your clairvoyance is kicking in just fine. So that's a good thing. Been emotional. Is it the cause of the new moon coming? No, a lot of people are emotional right now because they are really letting go of things that they've held on to for a long time. A lot of subconscious releasing crap going on right now. So I've been telling people, I'm like, just cry it out, literally cry it out. So, yes, selenite's right here. I got selenite, and then that's rose quartz, and then that's pink or rose amethyst. Any crystals that shouldn't be together? No, not really. The only thing is, like, you don't want, like, because some crystals are uppers and some crystals are like lowers, like to chill you. So you don't want to put a piece of like poppy jasper in with your blue lace agate, because poppy jasper is an upper. It's like a caffeine boost, whereas the blue lace agate is very calming and soothing. So they go together. You can put them in your pocket, but your body's like, it's going to get kind of weird. So did I get any ametrine pendants in Denver? I think we have some ametrine pendants. So let's see here. How to help a loved one see how truly powerful they are. If they don't see it within themselves, it's difficult to convince anybody else. It really is. And that's the hardest part, where I think I deal with a lot of ladies, and a lot of ladies have a hard time with that because they see the potential in a lot of people. And when they don't feel that potential, or they quit on that potential, it really frustrates them. And I'm like, but if they don't see it in themselves, then they're never going to see it. But the biggest thing is just stay positive around them the best that you can when they still fight with the same thing over and over and over because they haven't learned their lesson yet. So Do I sell the crystals online? I do. It's Awakenings Store, 2 S's, awakeningsstore.com. So yes, I sell them online. What is Larimar? Larimar is found in the Dominican Republic. It's a beautiful blue, light blue stone, really good for the throat chakra. It's also known as the, what do I want to call them? It's also known as the dolphin stone. So it's the mine is getting, from what we hear, the mine's getting dried up. So if you guys find some Larimar, which we have Larimar here, but if you find Larimar, get it. Do I believe in salt lamps? Yeah, they emit negative ions. They're good things. Let's see, what does it mean if you see your spirit animal or bug and it's dead more than once? Death, remember, death means change. That's all it means, change. So that just means to tell me that you're probably going through change or you're about ready to go through some change. Will Reiki help you to relate more to your crystals? Not necessarily. And the reason why I say this is, crystals, I love crystals, but not everybody does. And that's okay. So that's why I'm like, the biggest thing is just understanding that some people vibe towards crystals, other people not. That's cool. How do you learn your lesson? By looking at repetitive patterns and how you react to those repetitive patterns. These are the people, like the people that don't learn their lessons are like, this always happens to me. And I'm like, yeah, because you haven't learned your lesson. You haven't reacted or responded differently to when it approaches you. And if it does, you got to figure out why the hell you're really thinking about it. So it usually has to do with something in your childhood. So let's see here. Sarah's asking if I have any live audience readings coming up. I don't, because of COVID. I mean, I know the governor is saying, oh no, we're good. But our mayor is like, oh, we all gotta wear face masks until January. I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know what to do. So, and until this stuff kind of dies down, and I really think after the election, when this shit dies down, then I'll work on my tour. So, because right now I'm like, oh, I don't want to accidentally piss somebody off by having a live audience reading, and they're like, oh, Kelli Miller is having 200 people in one room. Oh, and I'm like, I don't need that news. So I'm just going to wait until this shit dies down a little bit, which I think it will, like I said, after the election. Then I'm going to get back in figuring out that a tour. And if you guys don't know, I am stationed here in Omaha, Nebraska, but I do an 8-hour tour, meaning that I go to Denver, Minneapolis, Kansas City. I had Manhattan, Kansas down, Kearney, Nebraska. So I have a Des Moines. So I do a lot within that 8-hour radius. So I just haven't, like I said, right now with COVID, I'm not doing a lot. That's why I'm doing more videos. So, because besides, you guys like the free videos anyway. No, Tabitha, no update. Why do I wake up sad and by noon I start to feel better? Make sure that you're not going to bed sad. But remember, a lot of people right now are doing a lot of subconscious releasing. And so that's why I'm like going, just roll with it and just understand that it's not necessarily something that's conscious. It's unconscious that you're letting go of. So what's behind procrastination and stagnation? It's just because it's because it has nothing to do with your life purpose. That's why. So, yeah, when it's safe, come to Kearney again, I will. So, no, I'm not going to do the ghost tour this year. What does it mean when I constantly hear children's voices in my house when I'm home alone? Well, Danette, I'd start by saging. So, usually, if you're near the Oregon Trail or the Mormon Trail, you're going to have some activity. So that's probably where it's coming from. So I would tell you sage. Do salt caves work? Absolutely. What are your thoughts on Moldavite? If you've never tried Moldavite, you might want to hold it in your hand before you buy it, because it's an extremely high vibrational crystal. And it'll give you the sweats. Like if you hold on to it, you'll feel it get tight all the way up here, and then it goes across your chest. And that's usually when people freak out on me. So that's usually when that happens. So I always tell people, I'm like, you might want to try Moldavite before you purchase or buy, but just understand it's a very high vibrational stone. And if you touch the Moldavite, make sure that you maybe touch it in the morning and not in the evening, because it will vibe you up so high, you might not sleep. So I made that mistake when I first started this. I was holding on to Moldavite and I did not sleep because I was like, ding, ding, ding. Like I was up here and I'm like, oh, Lord. Now it doesn't bother me, but it's a really high vibrational crystal. Yes, we have Moldavite. So both, Danette. Let's see here. Any crystals for love and relationship? Yes, Tamara. So rose quartz all the way. That's the love rock. So rose quartz is good. Rhodonite is also good. Rhodochrosite is great. I also like pink garrisol. Anything that pinky or green usually, but usually pink. Try to do Durango. That was on my radar. Strawberry quartz is really good for your heart chakra. So that's another love crystal. That's really good for being able to just like connect to somebody love-wise. You'll be able to connect to them. Usually I always think of strawberry quartz. I always think of like young love. So any crystals to help with menopause, anything, those darker oranges. So definitely banded carnelian, trying to think what, like red fire agate would be another really good one. And then probably I would even include brassiated jasper in on that one. So the other one too would maybe be like a moonstone, because moonstone's very feminine. So does Awakenings have poppy jasper? Yes. I love poppy jasper. It's my little go-to crystal when I ate too much at lunch and I got too tired. So dark oranges will help with hot flashes. Yes, they will. What does it mean when the last 24 hours woke up at twos, triple fives? Okay, so twos mean to keep focusing in on what it is that you want. 5 means it's coming. Change is coming. So what do you think? Do you think it's a good idea that the government wants to get involved with going to Mars? I'm split on that one. So the reason why is that if you don't think our government already has crafts that can go quantum, absolutely they can. And they did that because they reverse engineered the ones that crashed at Roswell. So don't think for one second that we're not doing interstellar travel. We already are. So, but you're not going to hear about that. So, but that's why I'm like going, but if they want to go to Mars, I think I'm really hoping that this free energy and all this stuff is going to kind of come out in the open here. Well, like I said, I don't know if it will or not, but like I said, there's a lot, we have way better technology than shooting a rocket up there. Okay, let's see here. How do you know what crystals to use? You go with what looks cool. I tell adults that all the time. Adults are like, well, I don't know what to get. And then they read everything. I'm like, no. You look at the crystal. If it looks neat, if it looks like, ooh, this is pretty, that's probably the one you need. So look at the pretty ones. Look at the really cool looking ones. That'll determine what crystal that you need. Have you communicated with aliens or felt their presence? Communicated? No. Felt their presence? Yes. They're very high vibe. So I'm still getting used to that type of energy. It's hard. So, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Do I have a crystal healer I work with? I don't. So, no, any penance for self-confidence and anxiety, stress relief. So Johnny, the best one for that would be ametrine. So that would be your best one, because amethyst is for the anxiety and the stress. The ametrine, the citrine is for the self-confidence. So that's why it's called ametrine. So having a lot of health problems, anxiety from it all, coming to the store would hit me any different than it normally would. Probably not, Corey. But the biggest thing I'm going to tell you is with all the health problems that you have, just make sure that you're taking care of yourself, and like no negativity here. So if you're, like I said, don't watch a lot of TV that's negative. I highly recommend people not to watch the news right now. There is nothing good on it, and it's really negative, and we're not unified. We're very divided, and this is keeping that division going. So don't watch it. It's bad. So you'll be happier if you don't, trust me. Especially don't watch it before you go to bed. Good God, you don't want to marinate with that shit for 8 hours while you're sleeping. Oh, I don't want to do that. Let's see here. How do I heal past life traumas? If you're going through an awakening and you see those replicating numbers, your past life is healed. Don't sweat it. Emotional issue causing blindness. It's because refusal to see what's right in front of you. Constipation in kids, that's anxiety. That's literally, they don't let anything go. They remember what happened years ago. They don't forgive. They don't let it go. So that's what constipation is. Opinions on why the West is burning, because I think it was started by different people. Weird. Crystals help dad COPD stage 3. Ooh, anything for the heart chakra. So Shelly, anything pink or green. So anything pink or green in particular. Is being scared, nervous, following your intuition still okay? Yep, absolutely. Especially when you first start out. That is totally normal to question it and not feel comfortable with it. Totally normal. Let's see, your brother can't remember anything about his childhood. What causes that? Protection. So sometimes trauma in children, you don't remember things because it's a protection mechanism. And I always tell people, I'm like, what, don't open up Pandora's box if you don't need to. I'm like, maybe you don't want to do that. So how do you forgive? You look at how they were raised. Look at how they were raised and understand they're not you. So that's simple. I know it sounds simple, but that's the best simple explanation I can give you is they're not you. They're not going to react the way that you would react. So you have to forgive them for what they may do or say or act towards you. But ultimately, if you look at how they were raised, you're going to be like, oh, I see why you are the way that you are. Your mama screwed you up real bad. Now I see why you got issues. So, let's see here. Same with constipation and digestive issues with adults. Absolutely. If an adult is constipated, they will remember some shit that happened to them 10 years ago, like it was yesterday. And I'm like, wow, she said this to me 10 years ago and I never forgive her for it. I'm like, yeah, but you can't poop right either. Good job. So, what causes trust issues? Usually it's because the way you were raised by your parents. So, or you got cheated on. Any crystals for overcoming addictions? I would say gray Botswana or Botswana agate is really good for that. Amethyst is really good for addictions, and smoky quartz would also help to detox the body. So, opening third eye guide, had anxiety but headed towards a divorce. Great. I think that's a good thing. Weight loss crystals. Actually, we have a weight loss kit for that. But believe it or not, blue apatite helps with your appetite. So that's the best one for it, blue apatite. So, Tammy, enlarged prostate. That is anything red or black because that is a fear-based response because they're trying to protect. Usually I find my military guys or my police officers or people that are in the military often have issues with their prostate. And the reason why is because they're constantly looking over their shoulder as to protect. Well, that's a fear-based response. And unfortunately, when you're in that position, I don't know why, but it goes to your prostate. So, is a weight loss crystal kit available online? Absolutely. So like I said, awakeningstore.com. Can I enlighten other people? You can, and I'm going to tell you what, don't push it out on anybody. You don't have to. So, but the biggest thing I'm going to tell you is actions speak louder than words. Actions will always speak louder than your words. So that's how I'm like, so do the action. Do the action. Because once I started making huge strides, people were like, okay, what are you doing? And I'm like, now you want to know what I'm doing. I'm like, you shunned me before. Now it's all cool. So like I said, the biggest thing is just being able to trust yourself on that one. Okay. Crystal. Boss has cancer. Best one, it depends on what type of cancer, honestly. Depends on where it's at. Thoughts on Bashar? I think he's great. So I think he's a damn good channeler. I can't channel. Ooh, that's a tough one. Usually April, the opposite of constipation is diarrhea, and that's literally nervousness or anxiety. So worry, worry, worry. Crystal, good for the estrogen. Ooh. I'd have to look into that one. I'm not sure off the top of my head. So not sure off the top of my head. Getting closer to saving all the children. We're getting there. So best way to practice remote viewing. Meditate and ask where you want to go. So like I said, just be like, if you meditate, be like, okay, I want to dream about going to Machu Picchu. And then just sit there, even though you've never been there, just sit there and let your brain run. I guess that's the best way to do it. Vanadite and Moonstone are good ones for estrogen. Thank you. I would agree with that one. Vanadite and Moonstone for the estrogen issues. Dog is anxious crystals. Amethyst. Yep. Or Shara White's actually a really good one for that one too. Crystals for high cholesterol. Oh, breast cancer. Okay, so anything pink or green then. So that's a heart chakra, anything pink or green. Remember your chakra system, guys. Go back to the basics. It depends on where at. So if you're having headaches, I'm going to say something for the third eye. If you're having throat issues, something for the throat chakra. And it depends on where it's at in the body. Go with the chakra system. And then you just get a crystal that matches the color for that chakra system. Easy. So, okay, guys, I think I'm going to end it there because my voice is going to crap. So that, and I've been, like I said, I'm finally at a point where I'm not working 12-hour days. So when I get done here, I'm going to go home and eat and take a hot bath and sit and chill. And tomorrow I've got readings, and then I have Reiki. I'm teaching Reiki this weekend. The other thing too is that I'm also teaching Enlightenment Academy coming up as well. So Enlightenment Academy is, if you're seeing the replicating numbers, then you're ready to take Enlightenment Academy. But if you're not seeing those replicating numbers, don't take Enlightenment Academy because it's going to be over your head yet. So Enlightenment Academy is me teaching the next generation of psychic mediums. But what you're learning on these videos is like, for me, kindergarten level. Enlightenment Academy is more that college level. So I think I've got maybe one more spot open for an in-person here in October. Otherwise, I can still do it via Zoom. So I'm doing Zoom as well as in person. But the next one I'll be doing won't be until January. So, and like I said, if you guys are interested, great. Head to my website, psychickelly.com. I can do payments. All you got to do is just call the store. I just would like it paid in full before you arrive. And like I said, if anything, we can do payments and we'll get you to January. We'll work on it. All right, guys. So I want to thank you so much for attending this Q&A. I haven't gotten to that point where I need to get back on my calendar and get some more free videos going. But if you guys have any free video ideas, by all means, get on me on Facebook and message me on Facebook. I still answer my own messages on Facebook on all my stuff. So I don't have a secretary at this point. I mean, Curtis is helping me by answering the phone, but for the most part, I'm still doing all my shit. So if you guys have any ideas for these free videos, by all means, let me know, okay? Because I love doing these videos. They're great, and it helps you guys out too. So again, want to thank everybody again so much. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube page and give this page a thumbs up like. But thanks again, guys, for attending, and I will see you next month. All right, guys, take care. Have a good weekend. Like I said, self-care is almost mandatory. All right, so you guys take care of you. Take care of yourself first before you take care of others, all right? Okay, guys, good luck. We'll talk to you later. Bye.